power, control, fear, certainty. We're living in a world that constantly tells us we need to be in charge, be in control, and be on top of everything or else. But what if the real power isn't about ruling anything at all? Today, we're taking inspiration from a song that's been playing in the background of our lives for decades. Everybody wants to rule the world. We will be taking a deeper look at the iconic song and uncovering the spiritual truth hidden beneath that catchy melody. How control is often rooted in fear, how inner authority changes everything, and how peace might be the most powerful thing you can choose. So stay with me, because this one might just shift how you see your life and your power. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to Psychically Speaking with Lisa Ann, the place where intuition meets real-life truth with just the right dash of sass. I'm your host, Lisa Ann, psychic medium, intuitive healer, intuitive coach, and your guide for clarity, healing, and soul-aligned living. When Tears for Fears released Everybody Wants to Rule the World in the 1980s, it sounded upbeat, catchy, and almost joyful. But when you really listen to the lyrics, this song isn't about happiness at all. It's about control, it's about fear, and it's about the illusion of power. One line that stands out to me is, "Welcome to your life. There's no turning back." You may remember this. It went something like this. "Welcome to your life. There's no turning back." Now you guys will see why I do psychic work and not professional singing. So thanks for hanging in there with me. But that line alone carries so much truth. We're born into systems, family systems, belief systems, emotional patterns, societal expectations, and somewhere along the way, we're taught that control equals safety. But here's the soul truth. Control is usually rooted in fear, not strength. At an energetic level, wanting to rule the world doesn't always mean controlling other people. Sometimes it shows up as needing certainty or forcing outcomes, micromanaging life, trying to control emotions, or living in that constant what-if mode. And the more uncertain the world feels, the more people cling to control. Another powerful lyrics, and don't worry, I'm not going to sing it again. Another powerful lyric says, "It's my own design. It's my own remorse." So often, we build the very cages that we're trying to escape. Spiritually speaking, true power isn't dominance, it's inner authority. It's knowing who you are. It's trusting your intuition. It's responding instead of reacting. And most importantly, it's staying grounded even when the world feels chaotic. Real power sounds like this. I can't control the world, but I can control my response. I don't need to rule anyone else to trust myself. And peace is power. Now, there's another lyric that says, "So glad we've almost made it." To me, that feels like humanity is standing at a crossroads between fear and consciousness, between control and compassion, and between force and flow. We're learning that healing, awareness, and emotional responsibility are what actually move the world forward, not domination, division, or ego. If you've been feeling overwhelmed lately, I invite you to gently ask yourself, where am I trying to control instead of trust? Where am I giving my power away? And what would peace look like if I stopped fighting life? Because the most radical thing you can do in a chaotic world is stay grounded, stay kind, stay conscious, and stay connected to your inner truth. That's how we change the world, not by ruling it, but by healing within it. I have to tell you, I had to go into a store the other day, and I will just say it's one of the home improvement stores. And I left my credit card home. So I went up to the customer service and I just said, I have my driver's license in my hand. And I said, I have to buy a couple of things. I just realized I left my credit card home. Can you just give me a temporary card? Well, this woman whipped her head around and was so nasty in her response. We don't do that anymore. And I just looked at her completely confused. One, I was totally taken back by her obnoxious attitude. And two, I have done that many, many times before throughout the years in this very store. So I said to her, what do you mean you don't do that anymore? You have to go online. And she is like so nasty. And I got to be honest with you, I was in no mood that morning. So now there's another woman sitting next to her and she realizes how rude the first person's being. So now she's trying to like soften things up and she's like, oh, ma'am, do you need help? I'm like, no, I'm good. Thank you. Now I go to pay for what I was buying. And this girl comes out from the little garden center booth thing. And she goes, you need to move your cart back because I can't get out. So now I'm just, in my mind, I'm now counting to 1,000 because I'm losing my patience. And she looks up at me and I could tell there was an issue with her. So I'm like, okay, let me just have a little patience. Let me show a little grace. Obviously, there's something going on with her. So now I go to pay and she's not looking at me, mind you. Okay. And I say, this is a military discount. Without turning around and look at me, she now starts telling me how she can't hear what I'm saying and she starts giving me an attitude and she's not going to do the military discount. I, by that point, had it. I literally looked at her and I said, I have never been treated so disrespectfully in a store. I'm like, you know what? I work so hard for my money. You can keep your products. I'm done. And I literally walked out. I was so mad. So now I have to go about the rest of my morning and I have to do the rest of my errands. So I go into a food store and there's this little old woman in front of me and she's just buying a couple of things. And the woman, the cashier, was asking her, if she had a card for the store and she couldn't hear her. So I looked at the cashier and I said, do me a favor. I go, I am having a very bad morning. I'm like, put her stuff on my bill. And I'm like mouthing to her, right? So the woman can't hear me. So she looks at me and she goes like, okay, I got it, right? So now the woman in front of me, the older woman, she's trying to like put her credit card in and she can't see it and it's not working. So I said to her, ma'am, I go, you don't have to worry about that. I said, you know what? I said, I am having a very bad day today. I go, and I always teach people, I'm always telling people that when something bad happens, you have to immediately stop and shift the energy. I said to her, so I've already paid for your groceries. I'm like, you have a good day and you don't have to worry about it. So she was so appreciative. And then, of course, the cashier and I got into a conversation because I said to her, whenever I'm having a bad day, I try to do something positive for someone else because I feel like I need to shift that energy. So then her and I got into a lovely conversation. And ironically enough, she had just had a really bad experience at the same store that I had just walked out of. And I'm sharing this because I always feel the way that we change the world is by offering the healing within it, right? I am not going to change the training, or should I say lack of training, that store is obviously lacking in customer service, right? But I can change the world by stopping in that moment and go, you know what? I'm not going to keep the energy flowing of this bad energy that I just picked up. I'm going to stop right now. I'm going to do a little healing. I'm going to put some positivity out there. And I have to tell you, the conversation that I ended up having with the nice cashier just totally changed the energy of the day. And just the woman, and it wasn't a lot of money. She was just buying three little things. The money that I, spent to buy the woman in front of me her groceries, her face and her smile and her appreciation just was like so heartwarming. So it just shifted all the energy, right? It wasn't about controlling a situation. It wasn't about giving in. It was, what is my reaction? What is my response, right? We always have that choice. So, having said that, I want to leave you with a simple but powerful challenge that you can practice over the next 5 to 7 days. I call this the power shift practice because it helps you shift from control into true inner authority. Step 1, notice the control. At least once a day, pause and ask yourself, where am I trying to force an outcome? What am I worrying about that I can't actually control? And am I responding from fear or from trust? Remember, there's no judgment. This is just about awareness. Even just noticing it begins to loosen its grip. Now, step 2. This is where you're going to reclaim your power. When you catch yourself trying to control, gently redirect your energy with one of these statements. I release what I cannot control and trust what I can influence. My peace is more powerful than my fear. I choose grounded clarity over anxious control. And just take one slow breath while you say it, letting your nervous system reset, right? And my experience was a perfect example of this. I cannot control the employees in that store, but I trust what I can influence. I was able to influence the next interaction I had and put forward some positivity, right? I wasn't worried about, I have a fear of, I'm going to walk out of the store and what are they going to think about me? My peace is more powerful than my fear, right? And by walking away, I chose grounded clarity over anxious control. I didn't fight with them. I didn't argue with them. I just went, you know what? I don't allow myself to be treated like this. And I chose that grounded clarity. Now, step 3, choose one empowered action. Each day, choose one small action that aligns with trust instead of control. So delegate something out instead of carrying it all. Let a conversation unfold without rehearsing it in your head first. Or take a break instead of pushing through exhaustion. Speak your truth calmly instead of holding it in. Remember, those small shifts create massive energetic change. Now, step 4, reflect. At the end of each day, ask, where did I feel more peaceful today? What shifted when I let go instead of gripping tighter? And what surprised me about myself? Write it down if you can. Even one sentence is powerful. Now, when you practice releasing control and strengthening that inner authority, your nervous system begins to feel safer. Your intuition becomes clearer, and your choices come from alignment instead of fear. And that's the real power. Not ruling the world, but ruling your energy. So take a moment right now. Take a slow breath. Just relax your shoulders. Unclench your jaw. Remember, you do not need to rule the world today. You just need to be present in your world, grounded, aware, and aligned. Your peace matters. Your energy matters. And your choices ripple farther than you even realize. Thank you for joining me today on Psychically Speaking. If this episode resonates with you, I truly appreciate you subscribing to the podcast, leaving a review, and sharing it with someone who could use a little inspiration. It's one of the best ways you can help this show grow and reach more beautiful souls. And remember to join me for my free weekly Psychically Speaking Live held via Zoom. For more information about my work, upcoming events, or working with me directly, visit spiritquestnc.com. Until next time, trust your intuition, honor your truth, and remember, your power begins with you.